It's 1 o'clock, and the Port of Allyn special meeting, January 10th, today, is beginning. And the first item on our agenda will be to approve regular meeting minutes for December 4th and meeting minutes for January 1st. I'm sure everybody's had a chance to take a look at the minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes on December 4th last year, and this year it's the 1st of January.
Second, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. So next is, I'd like to introduce Sonia Prothman and Steve Worthington from Prothman. Gosh, I forgot your title. So you are here to kind of help us do our executive director search, or at least give a proposal of what you have given us a proposal to each one of us to take a look at. So I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us. And if you have, Sonia, would you like to start, or Steve?
Sure. Nice to meet you guys. We were called. Steve was notified from Karen, I believe, that you guys needed some help potentially. So we're just here to help you as well as we can in the process. And you have our proposal in front of you. And we, being that it's Mason County, and I know you guys are a pretty small part. I drive through Allyn all the time. I see your docs and stuff. We just want to give you the type of support you need. So I gave you the proposal that just included the sourcing and screening, where we would do all the upfront work. Steve would do the interviewing, and then come to you and say, these are the people that meet your qualifications and fit, and these are the ones that don't. And then we would support, we can support you in the vaccines on that, but then you would take the process over and actually do the interviews of the final candidates. Now, if you wanted more, you wanted us to be more involved in that final process, and I
need to update the proposal to have us come in and facilitate the finals. So, and Steve would be your lead consultant, and he's currently working. What is it? The Mason County Economic Board. So he's
the Economic Development Board. Yeah. Doing the executive director, I should say there. And then I'm also just completing the Mason Transit Authority finance manager. Looks like we have a good candidate there, and Amy's working out some details now.
And Steve, you're also doing the MaceCom?
The company is. We have a different consultant that is doing MaceCom, but I have also did the Mason County administrator about 3 years ago. I've lost track of how many years ago.
Yeah, was it? I think about 2 years, 3 years. I guess it was about 3 years ago.
Yeah, but and the company's involved with MaceCom, but we have roughly a half dozen consultants similar to myself, and all of us have a background in local government executive positions. And gosh, I don't know, Sonia, anything you'd like to add about that?
No, just the Baycom one Richard's doing, because he's got a police background, so it made more sense to have someone with a policing background to do that. So we try to match our consultants with the type of job it is. So I Steve and I are kind of here to any questions you have, any questions about the process. We're here to answer any questions to help you guys make your decision.
So Sonia, what I would ask is that I think the other two commissioners is that we want a good fit, or a person that's going to be a good fit. Of course, everybody does. And so do we need to get you a job description?
Well, so let me tell you how to give you a little more information on the upfront part. So if you guys decide you want to move forward, we'll do the contract, and then I send out we're getting started email, and it will connect you to Jared from my office. He puts the position profiles together. I don't know, I probably didn't send you a position profile, but anyway, We can send you one as an example. And that will have the job description. It'll have a description of the port, a description of the area, beautiful pictures of the area, benefits, salary, all of that. And so Jared will send you a list of those items he needs at that time. And then you can get the stuff together and send it to him. He'll put the position profile together. He'll send it to you in draft form for review and edits. And then he'll put it back in with all the pictures. Then he'll send it for final approval from everybody. And then I will also, on my kickoff, I will include Steve in that and say, okay, Steve's going to be your lead consultant, which you already know, but how much stakeholder interviews do you want him just to meet with the board to hear, what, so he can get a good idea on the fit, right? What the culture is, what does this person need to be, someone who sits in his office all day or someone who's out walking the docks, those kind of things. We don't want to put the wrong, we don't want to screen for the wrong person. So Steve will then contact you at that point and say, let's talk about the stakeholders. Do you want me to come to the port? I can do these Zoom? Do we, any staff members you want to talk to? So the upfront work is really important. So we do understand the fit. So all that's going on. Then we post the position. It'll be probably a 5-week recruitment window where we're doing our work. We're sending out emails. We're doing the direct mail. We're placing ads. We're talking to folks. We're doing the social media, LinkedIn boosts. We're doing all kinds of outreach during that 4 to 5 week window. And then on the closing date, Steve will review. He does his thing, types in his notes, figures out who he's going to interview and move forward, who meets the basic qualifications. And then he'll do that first row of interviews. And then we'll put all that information, all of their applications, supplemental questions, resumes, and his notes into a packet and, send it to you. Most of the time we're sending them electronically, way back before COVID, everything went into books, and now everybody's so used to having everything on their computer, but we have the option of printing them and sending them to you or sending them to you electronically. And so you'll have all of the applications and resumes, and then Steve will have what we call a work session with you, where he'll go over the candidates, where they rank with fit, qualifications, experience, where they're from, all those types of things. And then he'll facilitate the discussion with you to decide who you want to invite for your final interview.
Perfect.
Sonia, Steve, it's nice to meet you.
So what's your targeted geographic area? What does that target look like as far as what you would expect as a response of qualified people? How far are you looking, or how far do we need to look, geographically, I guess is my point.
Well, I would, when I do ports, so I usually direct mail it on a national basis. And I think there's like 450 ports nationally. Some are big, the bigger ones, we might go to the deputies or, and obviously, we rarely, a lot of times I'll take out the very East Coast, the New York, Maine, those ports, because they really don't fit in here in the Pacific Northwest. And so.
Exactly. We're a small port. I would find it difficult to believe that there's not qualified, experienced, competent candidates in the Pacific Northwest, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not going to be paying for their move, or it's going to be an upfront thing, salary wise, and if it fits for them, it fits for us. And I have no doubt that we don't have to go geographically too far to get a whole pile of candidates. Would you agree with that, Steve?
So your likely candidate is someone nearby. Yes, I agree that that's the likely candidate. The reality is, though, some of the mailing list and the associations that we advertise with are national associations. And so it isn't as though we're targeting folks on the East Coast, as we don't have a way to pull them out of certain target media.
I understand that. Yeah.
Well, and also, which is interesting, we did the Port of Bellingham aviation director, and we had I think I interviewed 14 for that one, and probably about 8 of them were from the Midwest, from bigger airports, Midwest, Atlanta, big airports, yet they had family in the Pacific Northwest. They grew
Okay.
up in the Pacific Northwest. They
I
wanted to come
understand.
back to the Pacific Northwest. So we
Right on.
don't want to upfront limit our outreach because we really don't know how many people have been in the Pacific Northwest and then now this is the
Yeah.
perfect job for them and they want to come back. So that's
Yeah.
kind of another
No,
reason
that-
why we don't want to limit it up
Yeah.
front.
I get
Yeah,
that.
this is,
Where,
yeah,
where are
it's
you, where are you physically located, Steve?
I'm in University Place next to Tacoma,
Okay.
so I'm
and Son-
basically
Sonia- Okay.
about an hour away. So
Okay, thank you. And Sonia, being it's after August, you're back here at Lake at the by the lake now, right?
Right now I'm in Snoqualmie, but I go
Sure.
back and forth quite a
Okay.
bit. So
Okay.
just depends on my workload and what I need to be at the office for. If I have a 4 or 5 day window, I go to the lake house.
And okay.
So one of my questions would be, the finances, were pretty tight, and I do appreciate the discount, by the way. Previously, just so that you know, when we did our search, we kind of did it ourselves. And so having this kind of information is very helpful to know how you advertise. That's something that we might fall short with because we do have some ability, but we don't have LinkedIn, we do have Facebook. But I have to ask a hard question. Could you discount it anymore?
Well, and that's going to depend on if how much travel Steve has to do. If you guys want to do the meeting Zoom, then there's no travel involved, and that's the ads are the ads. We can look and really make sure we do, that we're Barry can work with you on the ad budget. We'll show you a list of where we add. There's a couple port spots that we'll want to add. And then there's some free ones like Association of Washington Cities. So he'll be able to give you a list so we can utilize, and you can say, we'll say we really highly recommend at least these 3. And then you can look at your budget and say if you want to do those. The direct mail.
If we we're seriously leaning that direction and we come to, if we conclude that it's within the budget, if you will, initially, would we both be, or one or both of you be willing to meet in person for the initial kickoff and exchange discussion?
Yeah, and Steve's more than
Yeah.
available to come in and do the stakeholders in person with you, so you can shake hands, get to know him up front.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, I'd be
Absolutely.
happy to, and I've done that with Mason Transit Authority. I've been in person with the EDC as well. So if you'd like it, I can. The travel expenses does come to you, but it's not a huge expense. So
I think I might have put it.
It's good to know, Steve. I'm a board member on Mason Transit Authority. So nice to meet you and thank you.
yes, thank you. Yeah, good to know. Yeah.
And Steve, my office is right below Amy's office.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just there on Friday then.
Yeah,
So actually, I was at is it George Street?
John's Prairie Road. Yeah.
Yeah, Johns Ferry Road. That's it. Yeah, Friday.
You
Yeah.
have a question?
Yeah, it looks like a good time for me to chime in here. Travis Merrill, I'm the interim executive director currently.
Travis?
And, nice to meet you. So I can see that there is an expense schedule of additionals that, the approximate 800 to 1,600 on the advertising and direct mail announcements and background checks and such. So of course we wouldn't be seeing you would have traveling expenses and such that would add on top of that. But if we were actually, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I interrupted you. Actually, I think I put travel no charge because Steve.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
if you did, I may have missed it.
He's within an hour, and
Sure. And we would have to book either a work session for all the commissioners to be there to be in compliance, or we'd have to stagger our meetings individually, of course.
Yeah.
If we can coordinate with all the commissioners, they can come in 30 minutes after each other.
Yep.
But I would think that it would be very good to physically be in our office and see how we are such a small entity that was really powered by 2 people. And it's a huge workload for sure. I'm coming to find out very quickly. So
Small port doesn't mean small job?
no, not at all. I think it means larger job, to be honest.
Ah,
You got to have both people on point doing just as much work as the other.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
So commissioners, do you have thoughts? Maybe we could break this down to where, would you like to have them do partial?
Um,
What's your
that's-
thoughts first, and then I'll chime in.
Yeah, no, that's why, I mean, for discussion purposes, that's why I'd like to schedule, a time that works for you to come in, and if we're to seriously entertain this, we have to kind of step into that zone, if you will, to not waste your time or anybody else's time, and to see what that should look like within our budget, you know. We know what our budget is, and we just need to be very careful. Our needs or wants or the sense of urgency should not override the common sense and being fiscally responsible, if you will, with the taxpayer dollars. And I don't mean to go on about that, but I would suggest that we can have that discussion, but definitely, at least in part, I would be very for having them come on board, at least in part, whatever that looks like.
Well, I'd be inclined to do that too. I think it's just cost wise, that's my
Right.
concern. You know, how far gathering information, matter of fact,
Right.
gathering information, getting a good profile set up, because that's something that I previously, when we got our executive director, we just put out an ad, a couple of ads. It's been so long, I don't even remember when. And so, that's where I think we need a little guidance, for sure.
Yeah.
Advertising, of course, that's critical. And maybe that's something that we could discuss, whether we take it over to screen them, or if that's something that, you know, we could afford to have you screen. So, commissioners, thoughts?
Yeah, if I can, Commissioner Jackson, I'd like to see the screening, part of that screening process be in their camps, if you will. Just
I agree.
for the sake of their experience in screening through that, and then giving us the best that we could get, if you will. And then not just having the final say as a commission, of course, but to be able to work closely with Steve also in that regard, you know, and he'll be communicating with us. So I'd like to see us get set up and schedule a time, commissioners, to meet with him and to see what that might look like. And we're gonna have our budget, you know, already. I mean, we've had our budget continually thrown our way most every meeting, so we all kind of know what it looks like. But to have another fresh one prior to that meeting, to see what, you know, what it looks like that day, if you will. And I say that with some humility, because we've had so many changes in the last several months, as everybody knows. And I just don't want to get caught up in the forest. I want to stay outside the trees looking in, which is why I want to see them come on board.
Yeah, Steve and Sonia, who does your background checks?
a company called Sterling. They do the education verification, criminal, sex offender, and pretty much whatever. They don't do a credit report, but they do everything else.
Right, education degree verification.
And you know, and that sometimes we have clients that just do that on their chosen finalist and don't do it up front.
Correct.
And so you don't have to do it on all the finalists. We typically will do it on all of our finalists when we're facilitating the finals. So we don't have any surprises when we bring someone forward. And I said we would do references for you also. So we'll do references on your finalists for you. And you know, Steve will be there. You know, we'll be there to help you guys through the finals too. You know, if you need help, or you know, we're not, you know, if you need the help setting up questions, we have sample questions. We have all kinds of stuff we can provide you to help you through the process in the finals.
So one of the things I'm seeing myself do I do like the idea of somebody else doing the backgrounds as we go through people. But I will tell you that I will be doing a complete background for the final candidates, if you will. I have the ability to do that. That's all I'll say about that. But so we'll get there. And there are rules and laws governing hiring, employment with criminal background checks that have to be really adhered to. And I think you're all aware of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
So should we try to set up a meeting?
I would
and
like that.
Okay, and do you charge us for a meeting the first time, or what do you charge?
Now, Steve can come down and meet you all and discuss any more specifics that you have.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, that would be excellent.
Great.
Steve, you can just email me when you have, a good idea of what times will work, and I can coordinate with the commissioners.
We're gonna do that right now.
Sure, that's fine. I have a thought of some of those times, but I'll get that in an email. It'll be easier to coordinate that way. So
You could
Not
you
very
could probably be
confused.
there in an hour, Steve.
just about,
Just
yeah.
about.
We'll still be here.
I like your
Yeah.
motivation, Sonia.
Yeah, I think I can make 3. So anyhow,
Make it there by 3.
yeah. But in addition to that, we can see what we can put together fairly quickly here.
Okay, that's great. Good. So we'll
Okay.
keep in contact then, and I appreciate that.
All right.
We'll move in that direction one way or the other, whatever that looks like, which is why it'd be good to meet. So thank you very
Mhm.
much.
Okay.
Certainly.
Okay,
I look
good.
forward to meeting you all soon. So
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. And hopefully we'll go down and play the home course one of these days.
there we are. That's right. Back in your own stomping grounds. Yeah.
The old Mayor's Cup. Yep.
Exactly, Ted. Well, good. Good. Well,
All right. Well, thank you both
Right
very
idea.
much.
Okay,
yes,
great.
thank you all.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Okay. All
And
right.
nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you
Nice to meet
too.
you both.
Thank you for joining us.
You bet.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, next is the discussion and possible action on the employment agreement for the interim executive director, Travis Merrill. I gave him a copy of Larry's, so he took a look at that.
I removed parts that were Larry and removed some other parts that I didn't think were necessary for a temporary employment record.
Okay,
And it terminates 90 days after December 26th.
okay. What do I do with it?
What are you looking for? I'm sorry. This interim executive director employment agreement?
Yep.
It's in the
I know
back.
it's in here.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I'm getting there.
No problem.
Real quickly, commissioners, my internet is failing, so I'll try to sign back on real quick.
Okay, we'll wait.
Apologize. Yeah.
That's okay. If I was gonna say, if we miss you, we'll just pause. Aaron, you mind me asking you a question real quick? So we're gonna try to set up, as you heard, the meet with them. We don't know whatever modified version of an agreement we can put together with them because there is a sense of urgency, but we want to do it proper, right? Which is why I feel inclined to go that direction. I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on our budget regarding that. They want 7,500, and that was brought down from 10,500 for their services plus expenses, and there'll be expenses.
Of course, yeah,
Yeah.
so I know Steve, I have met Steve, he
Okay.
helped at the water district.
Oh, cool.
So I had made a note, and then he got to that, the travel expenses, so I was like, oh, there are gonna be additional
Yeah,
travel expenses.
they pile
for this.
up.
And then the other thing, we actually paid some travel expenses on one of the candidates that came from, I think, Walla Walla. So that would be also, I would think, a question as we get to the finalists is, are they going to expect some
Well, see,
reimbursement?
so that means that's a really good point. I'm as a commissioner gonna say no, right? It's just like,
Right.
how motivated are they to get a job? How do
Right,
they want
a
this?
little
Why
bit.
do they want it? Those are all parts of those questions in your view, right? What makes you, not only what makes you qualified to speak for, but at the same time, it shows a sense of I really want this.
Right,
So
exactly, I'm willing to.
you
do
don't want to
whatever.
bring somebody in and everything's taken care of because you don't see the motivation behind that too much. But
In terms of the budget, well, I think it's gonna depend on what happens in the office going forward,
Mhm.
because, now that the Leanne salary is not there, and then, Travis obviously would be taking some of what Leanne and Larry were together, and so
We need those
No, I get
think
that.
there is
Sure.
some money there for, is
So,
that what your question was?
I'm looking, and I'll speak for myself just as one of the commissioners, and we'll be having this discussion too, is I'm gonna lean towards, getting somebody in, it doesn't have to be highly qualified, but somebody can do, support, administrative work, right? With minimal training, to get through this time period. But, okay, well, so I'm just wondering what you think about the budget regarding the expense of bringing a recruit in, what your thoughts are on that?
I think it's a good idea, that they are helpful, this is what they do.
Yes.
But I do agree with you that the money is very tight.
Yes.
And concerning, something that I had brought up to Travis a couple of weeks ago was with the loan coming up with some grants.
Yeah.
So much of that is upfront and then they reimburse.
Right,
So
right.
do we have the cash to float us for a week or two or a month, waiting for the state or the federals to reimburse us?
So what's really
That
helpful with
concern.
you sharing that is that when we have this discussion with them, how much they're gonna work with us, right?
Right,
So
and then-
get it going, get it started, and then, work on the
I see.
latter end of that,
I thought it was really a good question, whoever asked, if there's some sort of like an à la carte thing that we could do with them where
Yeah.
they do some of the screening, but maybe we do some of the advertising or.
Sure.
something like that. I think
They can
that's
even
a good
recommend,
idea.
well, this is where you wanna advertise, and we just go
Right.
direct, right?
There's some things that we can do in the office that, we can set up LinkedIn profiles, we can set up
Sure.
some of those advertising things that are literally like sites that you use, that we could get out of them doing as an extra.
Yeah, Jeff?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
No problem. Assuming, and I have to use the word assuming, when I look at the county, or the port's budget online that's posted, and that's as of December 30th, which I believe that's what you're up
Yes.
to.
Yeah,
It's showing, and I'll speak just to the general fund, because it gets too convoluted if I try to dice and slice. But from the general fund point of view, it looks like we're short 12 annualized. In other words, when you come to look at the, start of the year to the end of the year, you're short 12. When I look at your payroll during, when Larry was here and things were relatively normal, some of the, the crisis phase, and then this readjustment phase, crisis level 2. Just generically, it looks like you're short another 10 to 12. Okay, so I don't have any problem with the source. I think personally, they've given you different options literally how to pick and choose and work the different things with you, which I think is great. I thought it was gonna be more like I saw with the city of Shelton where, it's 15K or, this kind of thing. So I'm happy to, so as a taxpayer, I'm fine how they're stating it and how you might work with it, the port might work with it. My concern is, there's a couple fold. One is that additional cost, and there's probably ways to work for different funds, but it has, to me, it seems like you need to address that up front before you get into, one, negotiating the deal with them,
Right.
and two, before you negotiate the deal with whoever's gonna be the director.
I agree.
And because we had the port, the port had conversations about possibly delaying an appointment because of budgets, to maybe halfway through the year or something like that. And now, obviously, that's kind of ratcheted up with
Right.
everything that's happened. I'm not against one or the other, just saying that, at least in the old days when I used to do this in the private industry, we call it budget forecasting. You can try to balance and see what the next 90 days, next 120 days, whatever time frame was going to do, because I'm concerned that even, let's just say you get this to zero, then you're at zero over here, that's a problem, obviously starting in the next year, and that, I believe, needs to be addressed this year. And And I don't have a problem with the port being in debt or not being in debt, but as long as we know, or the port knows, and we, the taxpayers know, that this is the course and the plan.
All right,
That way, if crap happens, which we've
We're
seemed to
prepared.
have had a fair amount of shit in the last 90 days,
yes, sir.
that when the port makes adjustments, it looks, or there's reasonable thought applied to it. It doesn't look, like it just on the whim went one way or went one way.
The numbers
other.
don't look so cattywampus.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I had some questions, but I don't wanna get into nitty-gritty.
Right.
It's just, I looked at it because I knew you were having this, and I'm concerned that if we really need to look at how that forecasts out and see, because my concern is you're gonna be tighter than you think, and we need to figure out where that date is, where we can actually bring somebody on, but then also look at the other budget categories and see where we do or where we don't. And obviously there's some of that proportion is in the water side of the funds, so that makes it a little more, I'll call it three-dimensional, meaning it would be one thing if you're all in a general fund and working this all through general, but you're not. So you have this other fund that has to dovetail and lead you through that whole process too. It's not hard, but it takes some discipline to do it and get
Yes.
into it. And I'm sure in short order.
In short order, we can even find out exactly how much we're saving in labor costs
Right,
now,
or
because
just-
the
yeah.
port is not paying very much in labor now with just,
Right,
current-
but I
the
mean,
current-
the lowest payment we've had so far has been around 17.8. And
Okay.
even if you take that, and I realize there's differences again, but if you take that, we're still short of, about 12. In addition to the 12 we were short before, so I'm just,
Thank you. Yes, I get that.
that's my 2 bits to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately or fortunately, it's in your hands but I'm happy to point out and give my
Aaron, did
thoughts.
you have some comment?
I'm glad that he brought that. I don't know that was completely, and maybe it was my communication issues to Leanne during the budget. When my initial email said this budget is not sustainable, it was that you will end the year negative, cash. Not that the income and expense was going to be negative, you would have negative income. There wasn't going to be enough cash to get us through the next year. So I'm glad that he brought that up, and I think that is definitely, so some of the things were like the lobbyists, and I know Leanne was working on that, so I thought maybe at some point in the next month or so, we could dig into some of
Yeah.
those areas that I know she was gonna look at. Can we modify some of the contracts and get that going?
Well, I think
Make
this
those
is
calls.
Yeah.
so important that we ought to have a meeting set up where we just only do the budget.
Just dollars
Period.
and cents, yeah.
Nothing
I think
else
that'd be
on the
really
agenda.
helpful.
Yeah,
Whatever
that
that
would be
looks like,
fine.
even before we meet with them, if we even do that, like,
Sure.
whatever that looks like.
I would, if I was in your shoes, I would do the same thing.
Yeah,
I
no,
know
I would,
Before you want to open
no,
what you commit
Yep.
to.
I wanted to
Right.
leave that open for obvious good reason, but I wrote this down as a note for myself when we were having this earlier discussion with them, that that's what I want to see us do, and just set up a meeting just for budget
I
only.
do believe, Aaron, you were gonna be able to come Monday.
Yeah,
We were
Mondays are
talking about-
usually okay
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me.
so.
Oh,
Aaron-
yes, it's a
yeah,
day off, yes.
Yeah, Aaron and I on Monday could really just hammer down on budget.
Well, I want to be part of that.
Well, no, just try to
I
get
think
things
it
ready
needs to
for
be
it.
the commissioner's purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Commissioners need to.
all I was doing was to offer to
Yeah.
bring some more information to you and try to make things clear
Right,
for your
right.
meeting
Yeah,
time.
no, I agree with Commissioner Sheridan, is that I think the commissioners need to sit down with the budget. And Aaron, if you'd like to sit up at the table, I don't know if there's anybody else
Oh,
in the
there's
room.
plenty of
so-
room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I can mail it, but.
I really do believe that commissioners need to sit down, and go through it.
Yeah, I do
So-
too.
Yes, can we try to, I was just looking, can we try to make a date for Monday? Are you available, Ted?
Monday's a federal holiday, so I don't know who's,
I wouldn't be able to get the notification out.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, notification would already miss the deadline.
Okay,
So if Commissioner Scott, if we could just do another day besides Monday, I can make it work for my setup, and I will be in the office. But I 100%, the commissioners need to sit down and go through the budget. So,
I think
and
the
thank you,
earliest
Jeff,
we can be is
for
Wednesday,
bringing that up.
because it'll go into print on Tuesday.
yeah, I could do Wednesday.
Could I throw out the Wednesday at 10:30 a.m.? Does that work for you? You too?
I'll make it work, I'll make it work, Commissioner.
Aaron?
Can we do a night, because I do have a full-time
Okay.
job, a nighttime usually, but I know that's not fun for anybody
It's
else.
not that it's not fun.
Or even like a 4 o'clock or 3:30, just closer to the end of
As long as we're done before 5.
3:30 works great for me, if the other two commissioners, yep.
Noon Tuesday, noon.
Well, you could start earlier and you come in too. I mean,
Yeah.
That's
oh,
true.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
You were thinking 3?
Yeah, 3:30,
3 I could do too.
3 o'clock.
I could do 3. How about you, Ted? Wednesday, the 17th?
That'd be perfect, yep, thank you, that'd be perfect.
Is that good?
Yep.
Yes, thank you, I appreciate that.
I will get that typed up and out to the print.
Okay.
Thank you.
3 o'clock, correct?
The 17th.
Yes.
Okay. 3 p.m. All right, that works for me.
And that is budget,
Budget only.
okay? What, you don't like to multitask?
I don't mind it, but
you'll find that everything's married to the budget.
exactly. Because we're gonna be going over so many things on the budget that it's all gonna come home, so.
Listed as discussion and possible action.
Yeah. Yes.
And in the meantime, these are through December 31st, our financials, so it might be helpful to.
Yeah.
And Ted, I can send you, or now I'm looking at, Ted, I can send you a copy of the financial statements through December 31st also.
Oh, thanks, or I can swing by the office and
Okay.
whatever works best, so.
Okay, let's keep on task here with the executive director employment agreement. Does everybody have that in front of them?
Yeah.
What were the parts that you changed? Travis?
Anywhere Larry's name was,
And what was the other one that you didn't, I couldn't remember.
the effective date.
Okay,
All right.
Secure and retain services to him for the office of interim executive director for 90 days from the effective date of September 26, 2023.
great, yeah.
I changed the salary to hourly rate because that was what was approved, $34 an hour. I also added that anything time and a half would be time and a half, but I can just cut it 40-hour weeks and not work any overtime.
Yeah, I think with our situation, we may
Yeah.
have to do
Yeah,
that.
and I have no problem with that. It's just
Okay.
in there if you asked me to.
Okay, so let us strike that. Will be time and a half, just 40-hour week. Is that okay?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Shouldn't you leave that in there if it comes up?
The only reason I put it in
Well,
there like that is
it's a-
if you
it's a
asked me
90-day.
to work more than that, so.
If it was longer, yes, then I would leave it in there, but it's 90-day and we have a tight budget, so.
Yeah, no, I don't, I
Okay.
understand. And then when you just, then when you just overtly say, you know, no time, no overtime, period. I mean,
When you're a salary employee, there's no overtime.
But this is 40-hour,
It was,
hourly.
it wasn't
He
approved
changed
as
that
a
to
salary, it
hourly.
was approved as a
Okay.
hourly rate.
Perfect. And before we get in, I would still like to know, what occurred with Patty Noel.
I gave you the letter in your email.
I saw your side, but I
Yeah,
heard she met with Judy, but I still have questions about that.
that was good.
I understand.
I'm very concerned, so I don't want to be part of another lawsuit at the part of Allyn. And I'd like to know why Patty felt so upset that she needs to leave, so.
She's willing to answer any questions. Her statement was that she left for professional reasons.
And I'd like to know what those reasons are. And I've reached out to her a couple of times and received one response. So-
Okay, so I'm gonna be calling her myself, Ted, so, honestly, I think that's where we'll get the answer to what.
I'm just concerned.
I am too.
I'm glad you and Commissioner Scott on top of it. I have no clue what transpired.
Oh, I don't, well, other than Dawn's statement and, And
That's the
Travis's statement, that's, we'll get to the bottom of it by, you've got the discernment ability once you talk to her as well. I'm gonna do the same thing. That's all I can say to that, because I know no more than you do, other than what I've seen.
I asked her if she wanted to write a statement, and she said, no, not at this time.
Okay.
Okay.
With the salary, Travis, you know, we did say no time and a half. Should we change that for no overtime? Or how do you want to rephrase any of that?
I can just rephrase it at an hourly wage of $34 an hour. This is a salary hourly rate at 40 hours maximum a week.
Okay, so with that change,
Sure.
we can go ahead and approve that with that change that you just stated.
The only other thing I changed was office hours. They were wrong.
Oh.
I moved them to Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, but it also indicates that the employee is the same that Larry had, is expected to work a flexible 40-hour
Yes,
week. So
yeah, which is just fine.
Which is interesting, because the Port of Allen's office hours, is that your hours?
those are the hours on the door.
Okay, because.
And I don't think they're the same on the internet.
Because it doesn't say that, it references the hours of the, so you're gonna be in.
Right, because it says that the employee is expected to work a flexible 40-hour work week, Monday through Friday. So you flex through that,
Okay.
and those are only 6 hours of opening, but I'm expected to work 2 more hours than that,
Right,
essentially.
right.
It's just, that it implies that you need to be there when the opening hours are, plus some.
All right.
Yes. Who do we lose?
Looks like Ted popped out with,
Well, you just
yeah,
back
he's
to it and approve
back
it.
to it.
There he is.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Probably got a hot spot like I use, like in and out.
And then the rest of it's just pretty standard termination clauses and general provisions. The automobile and cell phone, I mean, I can strike some of that if you want, but I don't drive that truck.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's fine.
yeah, I
as
think
far
I'm
as
good
I'm
with
concerned,
this.
that's Donnie's truck.
Yeah, I'm good with the rest. So,
And I knew that we just needed something on file, and you
Yes,
said, get it to
we
me
do.
before the next regular meeting. I was like,
Correct.
no, it needs to get done now.
yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're not gonna get to the vacation, sick leave timeframe with the 90-day period.
No.
So I'm not concerned. So what, I have a question for you. Ted, are you back? Oh, you're back, okay, cool.
I think you're muted.
You're
You're muted, Ted.
I apologize.
No, that's okay.
There's no wind up here. There was wind last night, but,
All right.
no, I'm back now.
Okay,
Go
so,
ahead.
so we were, when we lost you and you got back, we haven't really covered any ground, but we were just going over the interim executive director employment agreement. With the changes, which is basically taking Larry off there, and there's no big things that have changed on here. But I was gonna ask you a pointed question, Travis.
Yes.
At 90 days, are you setting yourself up with our endeavors here to have a full-time, long-term director? Are you setting yourself up so that you'll be good with that after 90 days?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'll of course have a resume for the position.
Yeah,
But at the same time,
Okay.
I mean, I'm here to serve at the board's pleasure.
right. And we're not here to make any kind of decision like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But I wanted to know how you felt about that as far as.
Yeah. No, I've got a successful business that I
Yeah.
can go back to. I'm not,
Okay,
I'm doing this because I believe in the place.
okay.
So,
No, I appreciate that. Okay.
Can you keep it short?
Yes,
Okay,
does the contract have an extension?
No, it
No.
ends at 90 days and then
Okay,
revisit
sure.
it after that.
You sure you'll have it all wrapped up?
No, we don't know that.
No,
But we can
no,
revisit
it's
it.
just,
Renegotiate.
if we have to, it's in the contract that we just renegotiate in 90 days.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's a
How's
good
that?
question.
okay.
I had a question, when I do the payroll for the retirement, does it make sense if it is just for 90 days to do 3 months of hers and then take you out, or do we want to?
We were going to address
temporary?
putting me into the retirement system anyway
Oh,
with my
okay.
upgraded hours from the
Oh.
extra 40 plus my security that we had approved months ago.
Yes, okay.
So I'm still being approved into the retirement system. It's just my hours will change. As long as, I'm still being employed here for those other administrative tasks and for the security purposes. Or
So-
if it changes more than that, because we still have 2 positions to fill.
Yeah, would that work? To go ahead and,
Add them in there,
Yeah.
and then just depending on where everything happens, yeah, I think
Okay.
that's fine.
Because my understanding,
Okay.
you just have to have those 70 hours calendared each month
Each month.
to continue to build towards the retirement system.
gotcha, okay.
So add Travis regardless of what the future holds.
So I wasn't sure if you heard what the change of the salary, paragraph 7.1, did you hear that part already, Ted?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Okay, with that
I got it.
change, all righty.
I got it, thank you.
So were there any other questions or anything? Or do I hear a motion to approve with the changes?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the interim director employment agreement with Travis, beginning at the 26th of December for the 90-day period that we all have here. With one change, right? We're gonna
Correct.
take out no overtime, whatever that language is gonna look like.
No overtime.
Okay, I make a motion to approve that.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Aye.
Great, thank you, Travis.
Now with Ted not being here, I'll need approval for digital signatures on that document.
Okay. And you'll probably need the same thing for the minutes as well, correct?
Yes, yes.
All right.
So I need a motion
Yeah.
for the digital signatures.
So I'll make a motion to approve digital signatures for the regular meeting minutes, both of those, as well as the interim director's agreement.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Awesome.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Okay. Search for the office assistant. Any, I'll wait till you get done typing, or?
No,
you
it's good.
Okay.
I do have 2 phone numbers and email addresses I've acquired from people who have admin cells in the community that are looking for work.
Okay,
They would be entry-level positions. One of them did some admin for, I think, more than a year at the Hub. And then another one was recommended to me by Barry Betzinger, who was a girl that lives real local here, that did admin for the church for quite a while.
okay,
I can bring them down and have a conversation with them
Yeah.
and see if they would fit.
Well, Travis, before you do that, I think it'd be better for the board to do that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could just,
I
I
think
would,
the board needs to be, we're the ones that put our names on the line. I think the board needs to have a little bit more stake in the game, so.
I was
I
trying,
would like, yeah, I'm very happy to have Aaron, but I think the board needs to have a little bit more stake.
Can I make a suggestion on that? I agree with you 100%. Is this next Wednesday meeting, I'd be willing to come in early if any of the other commissioners would like to do that. Rather than 3, I'd come in at 2 o'clock and leave that open for any applicants to interview. Just leave that hour open for a few applicants. You can only do a few in that hour. Maybe 3.
I'm right there with you. Yep.
I was trying to finish, but I just wanted to have the conversation with them so I had more information for you before a decision was made. I would never make a decision in my position currently without the board's approval.
Well, what I'm saying is, never mind all that, if you don't
Okay,
mind.
I won't.
It's just, I'm willing to come in for that hour, and then you just send
And
them,
then send them, have them come down.
yeah, just have them come our way.
Okay.
With applicants, resume, whatever combination, ready to
Okay,
go.
but then you would be the only one that could be here because it wouldn't be a published meeting.
No, we would, this is next Wednesday.
We
Oh,
can
next
we can
Wednesday.
call this a meeting.
Okay, so I will add that to the
Yeah.
agenda for the budget meeting,
um,
correct?
it's,
Are you okay?
Because, well, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. That means if you're gonna do the interview, you want, and Ted would like to have the whole board, that means it's another meeting. We have to have, we have to
Yeah.
bump up the meeting.
I understand,
Okay,
but I just want to know if that's fitting, and then if so, then we just advertise it as
well, that's fine with me, but I don't know if he can make it at 2.
he just said he could.
You can make it at 2?
I'll be there, yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine,
So I'll set the meeting up for
for
2.
2. And it will be,
And the first part of the meeting will be to talk to candidates about
yes,
So,
admin.
so up to 3 candidates, whatever, for that hour.
Okay.
15 minutes apiece. That-
okay.
That chews up
Thank you.
45 minutes of the hour, but you got transitional time. I've done this many times. So 3 candidates within that hour, if you can send our way. If there's just one, there's just, but I'm letting you know that
I
up
will,
to 3.
I will
Okay.
attempt to get up to 3. The meeting will be agenda published for 2 PM with the budget starting at 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good to go, Commissioner Jackson, as far as it being a 2 o'clock.
Perfect, thank you.
Is that acceptable there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine, yeah.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay,
I got a color for everything.
If you know the system, then it works, that's what I say.
Oh, yeah.
okay, so that we have, are we done with that part? Office assistant?
I am.
We're gonna try to meet with some candidates on Wednesday, the
Correct.
17th at 2.
For 2
Okay.
PM.
And if you don't have any, that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
just
Oh,
do
absolutely.
every effort you can to bring in a few applicants. So how are we doing about doing this? Because I'd like to see us advertise. I mean, you know,
So we're going to have to, if we want to save some money, looking for an executive director, we're going to have to do a LinkedIn account, an Indeed account, all these other applications that are used to find candidates. I'll just quickly, either today or tomorrow, depending on what else is on my plate, I will get those created, or possibly even bring my wife in to create those, to take it off my plate, because my wife was brought in on the days that Patty was not here.
Yeah,
She was
okay.
not here on Wednesday and Thursday of her first week.
So can we advertise some interest for applicants for just administrative assistant, help, support? You know, that's what I'm.
Oh, sure,
talking about.
yeah, well, if we do get that, yes.
That's what I want to see,
And-
so that
Yeah.
there's some response between now and Wednesday, and then,
Yep.
you know, you're not saying, yeah, you're not giving them full-blown, you're just, if you're interested, we'll set you up for an interview. First come, first served. We'll do
you
the
know,
screening.
Since we're,
What they do is they will bring across to your account, they'll bring you people that fit, that are already in their system.
Sure.
And then you can go, okay, these 2 people have options. You
Okay.
can send them a message saying, would you like an interview at 2
Okay,
o'clock?
we'll see what you send us our way, that'd be great.
so you're gonna try to put that on LinkedIn and
Yeah.
Indeed, okay.
Cool.
WPPA has also.
Yeah, and I
offered-
did, I have a note for that, because I actually went and got a bunch of information about that from
MRSC,
there it is. So, yeah, WPPA does have a employment opportunities section that we can put up, both of the executive director and, admin help. But I would only put admin help to start with. We don't want to do the
Correct.
executive director thing until we put the whole package together, and we're
Correct.
ready to do that.
One thing too, we negotiated with Patty what her salary was, or, you know, what her hourly rate was going to be, but.
This would be
we-
an offering, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, this would we can reduce that because we,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we knew Patty.
Totally.
You know, we knew
No, I-
her criteria, so that's something that,
I think it would be just fair to look for somebody at an entry level of
Sure.
$22 an hour.
okay, yeah.
Because then we
Just
wouldn't
one
get
of-
the bare bones, but we'd get somebody who's had some experience.
So for now, what you want to say, and Commissioner Jackson, hopefully you hear me out here, is that the pay is negotiable. You know, however we want to advertise that.
Depending on experience.
Yeah, it just needs to, we need to address that, and that advertising of that position in a way that we're not overstating what their roles are gonna be, at the same time, not deter somebody who might you never know through this process if we get an applicant that might be an operations manager for all we know.
Absolutely.
We don't know that, right? So we need to keep things open as far as how we word that, all right? Entry level's good, experience preferred, those kinds of things. Opportunities, future opportunities are present along those lines. We'll go from there. You can word that right? Okay.
Okay. Done with that one?
I
We
am.
move on? I saw that you raised your hand. Did you want to say?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
You're having a lot of fun over there, I can tell.
I'm not responsible.
Okay,
It's easy when you're not responsible, right?
Right.
banking approval for Travis. You need, don't you have minutes already? I mean, now
No,
that we've
that's,
approved
the signing of
minutes-
these minutes allow you to come
Okay.
in and give me approval. I don't know if the approval was also given at the key bank account, might have been just the
Oh.
Kitsap Bank.
True, well, do we have an account?
Travis, excuse me, I'm sorry, Commissioner Scott, but Travis, I got a call from Kitsap Bank saying that we haven't done what we're supposedly doing.
Right.
And I know all the commissioners and everybody signed off. Have you had a chance to talk with them and see what information we need?
Yeah, Ted,
I did.
I can help you with that, okay? So you and I have to do one or two things. I talked with Tracy there. I talked with Tracy anyway, Friday and Monday. And what it is that you and I have to agree to go in and do it in person or do it digitally. Or do it digitally. Well, for some reason, I'm not getting her email and I can't find it in junk. So if we could set up, if we could tell her, you and I, that we're going to go in there in person, because we have to do it the same way, no matter which way it is, either digital or in person. If you agree to do it in person right now, then I'll just tell her the same. Is that,
How about if I go in first thing in the morning?
Okay.
I'll have my AD with me. Tracy's been a great person, so I'll go in there.
okay,
Take care of the portion I have. But I was just concerned because it's no fault of anybody's else's. It's just
okay,
what we have to do.
okay. And then, since I know that, I'll call her today and say I'll be in later tomorrow, and that you and I agree we'll just do it in person. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'll be in there first thing in the morning.
And
Thank
then
you.
add-
And I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, me too, so we're both good.
Yep.
And John,
Yeah.
was it clear that after those two identifications were done, I can just come in on my own at that point?
That I don't know. I can
think
ask.
so.
Okay.
She said
I
the
think
minutes.
we can.
Yeah, I can call Tracy again. I actually did talk with her when I made the deposits for our tax account.
Well, let us do this first, because that is, right now, you have a red light at an intersection. We go in there, it turns yellow, and then you go in there and she'll verify with us so it goes green.
Sounds good.
All right.
Can you make it quick?
Yep. I thought in the last meeting that we also needed a copy of the approved minutes.
And that's what we have here.
Yes,
Yes.
also, in other words, I haven't heard any of that discussion.
But she even told me that
That's
it was
fine.
already approved, even
That's fine.
before that. So,
I just didn't want to have another red stop thing where you guys did your thing and then
yeah.
you still needed the minutes.
But
No, they've
still,
been absolutely fabulous.
anyway.
They're working with us,
Right.
so.
Okay,
See, that's quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yay, we like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay. Now we can go to the long stuff.
It might be quick.
Well, okay, I hope so. Discussion about the purchase and sale agreement with Jeff and Debbie Carey's water system. And so that would be the amendments.
Okay.
Okay.
Amendment number 1.
How are we doing, Jeff?
Well, you're asking two different questions.
I know. I do.
If you want to status what we're doing, I can get that. That's quick and easy. Or if we get in the contract, that's going to be a little.
Okay.
more.
We got, I don't know if we can,
I mean, I can go either way.
I'm taking a look at this one. We got our inspection report.
Right,
There weren't any big red flags or anything, so that's all good.
right.
I have this updated information.
Right,
Okay, so we're good with that.
okay.
So the amendment, though, that's the nuts and bolts of stuff.
Yeah.
Right, a couple things with the amendment. One is, Bob Jewell didn't get it till yesterday afternoon,
Oh, okay,
okay? And unfortunately, this quarter, he teaches at Seattle, I think it's Seattle.
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
morning, and so he's out here early, and then comes back 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and does other stuff the rest of the evening. So I haven't heard back.
okay.
One. Two is, the contract, in the past, the extension was predicated on identifying what the issue was and then saying what, and then making an extension. In this contract, there's nothing stating what the causes are for the extension. Nothing. And I don't know that to be a problem or an issue. You know, personally, I have a hang up, but we made, it may be just me, and fine, we'll get through that. But I'm a little concerned about the 120 days, because when I looked at language, and maybe I'm just picking the fly specks out of the pepper, but, hold on a second. Or did I even print that? No. Hold on.
You know, a lot of times what we often do in contracts for extensions is you don't have to have a reason, but you can put a date or sooner. You just add that
Right.
or sooner.
Right.
And that can often cover that if things go well, like for the vacation of the
Right.
road, the BLA.
Right. See, the cover, where hang up I'm having is, in the context of the original agreement, I don't disagree that we agreed we're just vacating the alley. And, you know, and it's like, well, it's like, by adding the additional help to the port, now I've delayed everything by the way the attorney's looking at it, number one. Number two, I mean, and I know the attorneys argued about this when we were doing the contract, but in the plat of Allyn, unless it's going to the waterfront, as you know,
Yes.
all these are vacated. Then the issue is raised about, well, because we're additional area, now there's additional people who can comment. Well, they opened their mouth before they looked at things. There's no additional people that are fronting any of this. You know, they're adjacent.
Oh, I see, because our
You got yours,
attorney
I got ours,
assumed that.
and Cedar is the other one, and that's it.
Yeah, so, but our attorney assumed that there were going to be
Yeah.
others. Okay, gotcha. So,
And so technically, I mean, like right now, that alley is not open. And it's like you can't build on it, but you're not gonna build on it, number one. But it's like, we have to go through this operation through the county, you know, where they have to have the hearings board go through it one more time. But basically by statute, it's been vacated.
well, I get that, Jeff, but again, the way that our original one was like, there were 2 closings, and that's simply why they were trying to avoid that for this amendment. Because, you know, you
Right,
can't
but
really transfer property that's not there.
Okay, so then this, okay, so there's a line, the 4th line down in financing, I'm a little concerned about because, you know,
Okay, yeah.
I mean, do we have this nailed down or not?
We're working on it.
No, okay.
I mean, yeah,
I'm not asking,
Okay.
I'm not.
Sure.
I appreciate it, but I'm saying to the commission, do we or do we not? Not, you know, I know what we're trying to do, I understand all the problems, but I'm concerned by the way that's written, that there's an out. That, in other words,
Gotcha.
and not that you don't need an out if there's really a problem, but let's get it on the table now and know that we got a problem or not.
Yeah.
Because I'm delaying, it's not just you, it's not just me.
Yeah.
I'm delaying something for Red Dog. They may miss the financing window too.
Because of this delay, you mean?
Right, because I'm trying to get them in the first, or start of the second quarter.
All right.
What's gonna happen here is it's gonna get delayed to the third quarter for them. He's trying to invest funds, his guy's trying to invest funds. We missed the window in September because he had an option where to put his funds or not. They'll be coming back, he'll be getting his proceeds and what have you, and so that we can, and I'm not saying that, you know, that's not the port's problem, that's my problem.
Right.
All I'm really saying
I
is,
know.
we're all I'm trying to make, in a weird way, I'm trying to make this easier, and the easier I try to make it, seems like I'm making it harder.
For
Right.
you,
For people
for
to
sure,
say yes.
yeah. Well, you said Bob hasn't seen it yet,
No,
so we'd have to delay on this anyway.
correct. But I would not sign it only because I see this fourth line says, you know, where it
Yeah.
says describe financing, but must meet certain conditions. Well, you know, if we're gonna extend it, I would minimally want you to identify conditions.
Well, let us talk to Pete,
Yeah,
and
whatever.
see what we can come up with.
Well,
April 26th though, because the first quarter is March,
yeah.
so that's,
But that's fine. I mean,
We
first go through the process.
I
You know,
understand.
like when Travis was talking to me,
mm-hmm,
you know, he prefaced it right off the bat. He said, you know, okay, here's the, you know, the elephant in the room. And then we went into it. I mean, I knew for sure we're gonna be talking 60. I was trying to get warmed up to that. And then he's, you know, finally the punchline was 120.
And they came back with 120 because of the added vacation,
Yeah, no, I
of
get it.
course. And, you know, maybe, I mean, does the board want to say, well, wait a minute, guys, we're not so hung up on the vacation. The vacation isn't the thing that we want to delay this deal even further.
The issue too, like Travis asked me, okay, somebody protests, forgetting that it's still all the same parties for a moment. Okay, so there's only 3 people. I'm not gonna protest.
I have a question
I
quick.
do too.
Before, hold on. But in past, unlike Wheelwright, when Ron Griffey vacated, Richard Knight and I protested one of them. And that exactly went nowhere. It basically got approved and vacated. Because of the condition and all the different criteria
Sure.
that wrote.
Yeah.
And this, less chance of it being open, you know, back in 1905.
I totally agree with that. Attached, I'll ask a question now.
Okay, now go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, mine was that with the, now I lost my thought, darn it.
Sorry. That's for the whole line.
With the closing on, I mean, again, it's because if, without it being vacated, then you can't really totally close on it. Because it's the legal descriptions, you really can't close unless you have the true
But
legal
remember, and
description.
that's why we had to split.
Yes,
Be-
I get that.
Yeah.
And that's what we were trying to avoid, just because of the messiness, quote
I wish,
unquote.
the only thing I'd say is, okay, so you got a contract that says you'll do this.
Right.
So if you don't want to do this, you find out, let's just say for sake of argument, you find out later it's impossible to do or whatever, then why don't we bring it before the, the 11:30 hour and say, okay, we see this, we're fine with all the rest, we want to negotiate on this one point.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Well, then let's talk to our lawyer about this and see if we can change that, at least till the 31st. That's,
not, yeah, something different.
well, because if you're trying to work with your client, then that's the first quarter, 31st.
Yeah, no, I get it, that's fine.
You know, the way I look at this is that we may need more mercy than this at some point with all the, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, so what are the ramifications? I mean, you explained it to a large degree. If we try to do the closing, or we do the closing without vacating, and while it's still, we're waiting for that, with some language in there that addresses that. I mean, would that be acceptable?
And it's fine.
Because what I'm
we need to
also
have it.
saying, with everything going on, there may be some other delays.
And I'm fine, I understand it's gonna take some time to get Travis on board to have the same authority that Leanne
Right,
had to do
right.
the grants. I got all that, and I'm comfortable with working that. It just, when it went out all the way to the end, and then all of a sudden now, the last part, because of how funding would probably work, where the close date is like the first week of May, but all of a sudden, the funding isn't until like almost was the middle of May.
Right.
We're getting close to your other trigger.
Yeah, true.
That's what I'm talking about. So I'd like to see us satisfy what you need and find out if that's okay
And
with the
see,
attorney.
that's why we had that whole provision in the contract to say, if we
For the
can't get these
financing.
different things, so we don't break the port, but so we can get us moving so that you have title, so you can begin building and working that side of the equation, there was that deed issue and how to work all that, you know, the financing.
I see, working with you in every effort we can, we're talking to the attorney about the language that should look like, so that that can't be a showstopper and push this thing down the road. 'Cause we are gonna need some more mercy after this on some of the other things that have to happen with the other parts of this agreement. I already know this is gonna happen.
There was a point also made, I don't quite understand, the covenant's missing, but we discovered it was missing on lots 7 and 8 of block 49. That's, if you look at a clock, you've got the circle, from 9 o'clock to noon, that's missing. We have the noon all the way around to 9. I noticed in their documentation or email to the port, they're saying that they're missing, or they need a covenant for the, what would be the 6 to 9, and there was the 2 lots in the bottom. And it was in there, it was in the packet.
Well, that's weird, okay.
So
And Jeff, what email was that and when was it sent?
I received a forward from Travis yesterday afternoon around, what, 3:30, something like that.
Right.
To somewhere, once we talked.
Okay, that was from Caitlin, right?
Yes.
Right?
We need to get
Yeah,
that squared up.
3:30.
Okay, I'll have to look, because I didn't get a chance to look through that one.
So that would be the other, all right.
Yeah.
And so anyway, okay, and getting back to the point, the, Ryan from Northwest Water said, in his, I think, and I haven't seen the report, but my input he gave me verbally was, he was fine with not having that sanitary. I understand why the attorney's saying they have it. All I was doing is trying to save the documents and have it recorded when we did the BLA.
Right.
But if it needs it, I can create it today and tomorrow have it filed and be done. And I'm happy to do that. I was trying to save it $205.
Okay.
Charging the, but
Okay.
we're spending thousands with a couple hundred. Right?
So you are gonna do that?
Well, I can do that if that's hanging them up, but we need to clarify.
I don't know.
You need
Okay.
to clarify what's going on first with the lots 7 and 8 and 48.
Covenant.
It's in the thread that I forwarded to everybody around 3:15 yesterday.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Oops. Let me look up here.
So, I'm gonna ask a dumb question, but how do we verify that? Or is it
Title,
just through the title?
yeah.
Okay.
I noticed in the verbiage, when I asked the question, had they reviewed the title, they wanted more, but the board was saying they don't need more. Is that true? I mean,
So,
Wow,
the, what was it, the title inspection?
you mean the,
basically the commitment title,
Yeah,
it was like
commitment title.
167 pages,
Oh.
unfortunately.
Yeah, okay.
See, in other words, I sent an email, I'll have to look at the dates, but I sent an email asking where we are on certain things, like the termination of the lease, the different components. And then Travis got some of this back and finally some more yesterday, I got.
Yeah, and then the timeline you sent me here had everything on it, which everybody should have. The title report review I know has been done by the lawyers, but I don't know if they've approved anything. But they seem, from what I understood, that John had said that he wasn't interested in spending any more money investigating any further, but I don't know if the board approved it.
Yeah, I mean, the board would be here,
Yeah.
and I don't remember it coming up.
well, I didn't hear anything from the, personally, when I
Yeah,
called them
sure.
about the title report. That it can't, there's a lot of references to all of,
Two of those items don't even belong in that title report. They're
Really?
not germane to that property. But that's fine, I mean, it's fine, it doesn't, I've learned that when you have exceptions and you start pulling and pulling, things go bad.
well, and when I looked at those, of course, they're all auditor filed,
Yeah.
references, and I thought, I didn't really take the time to try to go through each
No,
one.
no,
And I didn't see any liens. You did share about the PUD
Right.
issue, which, you know, you're honest with that. But that's not even
Right,
listed
and,
on that.
right, and so you know, on that issue,
Mm-hmm,
provided, Sealand Homes met with PUD. Sealand Homes said that they agreed and did this. I contacted the lawyer that listed me and the, you know, me personally and the whole thing.
yeah.
And their statement back to me is, it is done unless Sealand defaults.
Oh, okay.
So,
Can you get that email to us, or
Yes.
just, okay, great. Well, and I didn't see any big red flags, but again, I didn't
Yeah.
look through all the auditor files either, so I
No.
have no problem with that.
and there's a
but-
lot of detail there, because
Yeah.
we're doing road maintenance, they're all in there.
Yeah, yeah, so right here, I mean, these are all Leanne's emails that are forwarded to me. There's one here from Leanne to Catlin on December 15th, after the review had been done.
Mhm.
And it says, yes, I wrote a letter to Jeff for the extension, we will sign it today, this is when we did the extension, but I don't want it to fall through the cracks. Commissioner Sheridan isn't in favor of a broader search, as we have to try to keep the attorney fees down as much as possible. Maybe Commissioner Scott can comment on that as well, just no mention of Ted. And this is,
Well, and I did
This is
talk to
from
you
Leanne.
about that, yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I did talk
yeah.
to you
This
about
is-
that.
This
so.
is a week or more before passing.
Okay, well, bottom line is, we're gonna ask our lawyers about the change in the date.
Right.
Because really, that's the bottom line, the change of the date.
Yeah,
Right.
it is.
Right.
Okay,
The change of the date on the.
on closing,
And I,
for financing.
and I would, you know, I know where Bob's gonna come from, or I have a feeling, is
Mm-hmm.
in the recitals or wherever, you know, reference, so to speak, cause and effect. Because, I mean, basically, I mean, technically, if this agreement's the only agreement, the next option is either we get this thing going by the close dates we have, either through the grants or through the financing that we offer.
So is it beyond our control, where closing may not be able to occur because of it not being vacated? Or are we in control of that, as far as, okay, it's not
I mean,
vacated?
Technically, I filed it on the 21st of December, and they came back and wanted some additional signatures, which I
Yeah,
believe you
yeah,
got.
I made the appropriate adjustment and emailed it back to them, and they said, great.
And because I had forgotten that one of the adjacent property owners, their folks had got involved, you know, with the property. I had him have his mother and dad sign, because they were co-owners in property, and get that, so.
Okay,
And that got down to him yesterday, but,
okay.
the gal down there at the county said, you know, we'll keep moving it forward, but we need this, this, and this. And
Is that state law, 120 days?
I don't know.
Because if it's not, we could expedite it some way. Because I thought it was usually 14 days or something like
And
that.
I've never seen them in 14 days, ever in the county.
30 days,
Yeah.
maybe? Okay.
The problem is in the past, they've been petitioned or they come into the water, those things, those take longer.
Yeah,
The one I remember when Ron Griffey vacated a portion of Wheelwright up near the end of the plat.
mhm.
The one reason I petitioned is that if we're not gonna leave easements, and in the beginning, they weren't leaving easements. If we're not leaving easements, I said, you're trapping me, because technically, my dad's property and my property are two different entities. So if dad ever sells property, then I'm landlocked. While everything's hunky-dory, it's not a problem, you know, everybody's with us and what have you, but,
So what did they do?
well, they vacated, but they left
Kept the
easement.
easement, okay,
But they had not had that initially, and I was gonna get landlocked.
okay.
And a case in point, this is without, the precedent has been set with another landowner just north of Ron's, where they vacated, and he's landlocked, and his only out is to the highway, and he's in the turn, coming down the hill just past the power lines.
Okay,
And he's got zero options. And he can do things as a residence, but it's zoned commercial. And see, the only way in is coming down the hill and in, and your only option is come out and go down. He's been trying to get an easement from us because of that vacation. The problem we have is Anderson, when they created the well, there's like a 200-foot area we could come across. But because the way the covenants are on the well, the access is only maintenance to the well, not to other adjacent properties.
Right.
The only other way is on the south side of my dad's building, and there's 36 feet between the building and the property line. There's no way that's gonna work for a commercial property.
Yeah.
So, this is not without precedence, but what I'm trying to say is that in all these cases, even with people protesting, me included, it's gone through unless it was going to the water or some other.
Sure. Well, I have no doubt it's gonna be passed. So bottom line is that we'll have to get a hold of our lawyer and see what we can do about
Right.
changing it up.
I mean, all I can say verbally is I'm willing to extend verbally that, in other words, this date where you have this Friday.
Yeah. Right now, we have to have this amended by Friday, or we have to make a change with you to extend that date.
Right. And right now, all I can say is, you don't have time, and, I mean, I'll get back to, there's just not, the problem.
I do, so, but how are we gonna expedite that? Well, let's get a hold of the lawyer.
I guess you got record of it here. I'm willing to give the court till next Friday
Okay,
to work this through.
okay.
That's golden right there.
I mean, and we're meeting
Yep.
next Wednesday, right?
Yes, correct.
It's recorded.
That's correct.
Okay, cool.
So you might have that on the.
Yeah, great.
Good brother.
Other than that, it's been a piece of cake. There hasn't been any problem.
Pretty, like pound cake, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I do think we do need to put that on the agenda, and say yay or nay on the extension. Nothing else should interfere with our budget. Commissioner Jackson, are you tracking?
I am.
Okay.
So, other than that, I think that covers, I'm not seeing anything that's coming up of any problem. The only thing, task-wise, that's gonna go beyond is this as-bills.
Yeah,
And everybody's fine with that,
Yeah.
and Ryan has seen the copy of my 2016 when the plan was approved. And basically, the only difference is, all the distribution lines are the same. The difference is any coupling to houses.
mm-hmm,
That would be the difference, and whenever Searland was digging across, I would measure elevation relative to the road, and it's lining up, make sure we had it this way and this way, as close as possible.
I'm not too worried about the as-bills, because that doesn't require those for closing. They're handy, but, okay, that's
But
good.
I mean, you technically have it.
Yes,
One additional thing that's been brought up is that the Northwest Water wants me to get a lead evaluation survey done of all the system as well as all the residential connections.
okay,
As soon as I get through some of these other things, I'll turn my attention to that. But that, one, that wasn't in the agreement, but two, as we kind of discussed a little bit last meeting, all our pipes are either PVC, either the C900 or the PVC. And all the connections to houses are either PVC or, in most cases, the HDPE type, the black poly pipe.
mm-hmm,
And the only areas that I know that have any chance for any amount of lead would be the galvanized pipe that's the drop pipe in the well, as we kind of discussed, and and some of the connectors that may not copper, they're using lead-free solder or brazing when they do it, but there is, even in, I didn't realize this, but it makes sense, when they manufacture copper, they put trace amounts of lead to make it more malleable,
Okay,
so it doesn't fatigue as
I didn't know that.
I didn't either, and so that was, you think you're getting copper or bronze or whatever.
That makes sense, actually, copper is very brittle.
so how long will that take you to get that test?
I should have it out either by the end of this week or next week.
Okay,
latest.
great.
So,
That's good.
I mean, you know, they're all 2009 or late, or more recent connections, so there's, other than that galvanized pipe and the drop pipe, so. Another point. Okay, I mentioned streetlights.
Hey, can we, focus on the water? I mean, streetlights are, we know the issue there, Jeff.
Okay,
I'm sorry to expedite this meeting, but, we're out of our purview.
well,
Honestly, we're talking about your water system that we want to purchase. Streetlights, I'm still trying to figure out, we know the issue there.
okay, I had an obligation with my nonprofit to an obligation to Cedar Run Homes to provide electrical power from the well house. And all I wanted to say is, I'm putting it in the easement and it won't be in the well house.
Okay.
And so what does that have to do with the purchase of your, water district?
The last time I checked, you're buying some property. That property is, in that commitment is with that property. That's all.
Okay, well,
All right, thank
anything
you.
else, Jeff? Because we can go on to
Yeah, I know. One
the
last thing.
policy, or,
One last thing. We're not gonna resolve it today, okay?
right,
What does, and important is to think about this. When Cedar Run finally gets houses in there, is the port gonna be willing to pave their portion of the right of way, like Wade Street?
Say that one more time.
pave the portion,
Say that again?
to pave it?
Yes.
Is that in, that's not in the,
No, but whatever, what I'm trying to say is, okay, everybody, when I say everybody, most property owners and developers have been paving along the way as they build.
mm-hmm,
So how does the port want to handle that? And I don't need an answer right now, I want you to think about it, really. In other words, there's a frontage of 200 feet you have.
yeah, correct. Okay, well,
Okay,
didn't
thinking
think about that one.
Okay,
Okay,
there, done.
okay. Next is the regulations and policy.
It's a good point.
I'll just do one.
Getting ahead of us, but that's okay.
Did you make any contact with?
No,
Okay, fine.
I haven't.
I pointed out to Travis, that remember I raised the issue that I felt there's a certain amount of money left on the table with this whole thing, you know, function of tying in the memory care. Indian policies, it says exactly what to do, it just wasn't followed.
Okay. You pointed that out before, so I appreciate that.
So, but no, this is even clear, this was, in other words, it gives the factor. In other words, when somebody comes to a larger meter,
Yeah.
it actually, Indian policy gives the factor, and so for example, minimally,
To make that determination.
you would say 6,000 times the factor, and
Right.
I think it was 8, and we were nowhere near that. So technically, all that work we did way back approving that special meeting for the commercial thing didn't have to happen.
So
It was already
there will be a policy meeting, actually,
So,
and to go over it.
I'll give her a call tomorrow.
also I noticed the grading permit has not been picked up either.
The what
The
permit?
grading for that site, the grading.
Oh, for her? Okay.
And so that leads me to the next thing. In all the houses Cedar Run's built connecting to the port or anybody else, there's always been water adequacy notices put in the permit. There is none in the.
Memory care?
Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll give her a call to find out where she's at with all that then.
And the other thing is, well, it really doesn't matter until you figure out the rest of it, I mean, the rates and things like that, but generally speaking, it looks like they're using that factoring as to determine rates also.
Okay.
but it's, again, this factoring is in your policy, so I mean, it's not anything we have to create, it's there.
Okay.
We just have to follow it.
I think the factors they're actually prescribed by the AWWA.
Yeah, right.
And then, yes, on the base rate that
Right.
usually is involved, you can apply them then to the base rate as well.
Thank you.
And then the policy two is the one where we need to address the guarantee or no guarantee. And I think I shot you the copy of the WAC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
So, I don't have, personally, I don't have a problem, it's just that those two need to be reconciled.
Indeed, okay, yes.
We'll leave it at that until we
There's
can work
so
policy.
many things, we're just, we've got like 10 balls that we're trying to juggle, so we'll get there. We will get there.
And again, I want to stress, I'm not trying to fix all the problems
Right.
today, tomorrow.
I know.
As long as we keep moving in a direction, even if we just take one policy and say, okay, let's follow this. or-
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the port's gonna be in hot water from the standpoint of, if you have you're dealing one way with one party, and then you have a policy that says you're doing this and you're not, and there's no write-up as why you're doing a different policy.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
That's right.
you get hot water. I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
Not that, you know what I'm saying, you get the friction of people and
So
customers.
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get through these.
Okay.
We're
I'm
gonna be
done.
focused on the
Okay.
tasks that we need to do.
We'll need to address the budget and the water system too, but,
Yeah.
we could address that with the budget next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at updates for the
You're on your phone.
water stuff,
Oh, no, I
so
turned
that's
mine
great.
off. Good.
Okay,
I won't go any further.
well, we can talk more on Wednesday,
Yeah.
next Wednesday, a week
Only
from now.
budget, only budget.
Well, so the only thing we're gonna address on Wednesday, correct?
Yeah,
is
that's
the
the budget.
extension.
Right.
Well-
Well, extension, 5 minutes for the extension, and then the rest of the time for the budget, or something like that. I don't
Hope
know.
so.
That's true, yes.
Yeah.
You have that on there, the extension for the agreement, okay.
That's
The budget, and then
We
2
have
o'clock
for the
is,
agenda, it's published for 2 o'clock.
Extension is super important, but we only need this time, much time for
Candidates
it.
will come in at 2 o'clock for the process, to look at,
Okay.
extend, having somebody come in. to help.
Applicant, yep.
And then 3 o'clock is when the budget hearing takes place, essentially.
With the
Or
extension.
agenda.
Well,
With
it's
the
really not a-
extension, we'll put the extension ahead of
yeah,
that.
it's really not a hearing, it's discussion on the
Discussion.
budget, possible action.
Right.
Hearing is.
One last thing, when you talk to the attorney, and whatever they say about the covenants, let Travis know, and I'll talk to him, and I'll do whatever I need to do.
Okay,
Yeah, they said that, they want you to file for it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think I said that in the email.
You said stick, and I didn't know what that.
Yeah, they're sticking to you having that
Okay,
filed.
fine, I wasn't sure which way that went.
Sure.
Okay, fine, that's done. Got it.
The only questions I have is, I'll just go over my email to Kate for, because we want to extend our deadline on Friday to the 19th.
correct.
And that's just for the inspection period deadline.
Well, that's
Because that's the deadline that we're trying to meet here.
not for the inspection,
That's
that already went, isn't it?
Well, inspection,
It-
the
this
only
is-
thing that really had extension originally was inspections.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
the timing, but now the.
The amendment,
That's what she told me in an email, that the deadline for having this amendment is on Friday, which says on the,
oh, okay.
it says, it's called the inspection period on their timesheet.
I'll
Yeah,
talk to.
and then, and I was a little confused by that
I
myself.
better
don't
look
know.
at that.
I'll talk to who.
Yeah, I better look at that, because,
I
think our
totally know what you're
inspection-
saying, and I totally agree that it seems like we got two different word patterns going.
yeah,
We have inspection extension, which, that was really the big push. And then we got through that. And then, but in that sentence, the caveat was 30 days, or 15 days extension, which basically put it at this Friday. And so, I don't know if they made the jump to say, well, any amendment has got to be done by Friday.
well, they were probably trying to wrap that into it,
Yeah,
because it was just easier.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
the extension,
I bet you're right.
but, well, I'll get a hold of them, or you'll get a hold of them, we'll both get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
better,
On task.
You're hearing that too, huh? Yeah, neither of ours, yeah. Probably.
Oh, that's funny.
What?
Just lost my agenda here.
Oh,
Well, that's kind of it. Now, do we want to discuss more about our search for the executive director? I don't think so. I think we're gonna try
There
to,
is a bit of a redundancy there.
we're gonna try to figure out our budget first, and then we'll make an appointment with Kaufman.
yeah,
Sound like a plan?
it does, because then we know what that discussion will look like, followed by
Yes.
the budget, and then we'll make an appointment. Yeah.
I have a couple of questions, just in my
Yeah.
coming across this week. First, as of January 1st, commissioners or elected officials got a raise from 128 to 161,
I
and
didn't
that's
know
from
that.
the Office of Financial Management.
Really?
Yes, and
I
when I
don't
was
want to raise.
I know, but when I was doing the minutes, I know that you all had talked about capping meetings and.
Yeah,
And
that's
we
true.
can roll them, you can say at 128, but it does, I think it has to be by resolution. And then also, in the resolution, the cap at 3,000, and then kind of, what does that look like? How many meetings a month is that? So I wasn't sure if we wanted to talk about.
Well, we did
that.
vote on the cap at 3,000. Would that be sufficient?
That should be sufficient then.
We didn't do a resolution, which I suggested, a couple of meetings ago. And I'm trying, so I'm going through the emails, I didn't see some of the stuff that you referenced, so maybe if, you could re-forward that stuff, but, Aaron, you're absolutely right. We need to have a resolution capping our rates. So what we agreed upon was 3 meetings, no more. I don't care if you do 10, 15, but 3 meetings. So, but we do need a resolution. You're absolutely right.
Yes, I think it's a requirement, if you're not going to
It
take
is.
full compensation, there, it has to be a resolution.
Okay, then we got to add that on Wednesday.
And I
Alright.
can research the format there and see exactly what we need to say, if you would like me to take it off of your plate, Travis.
Yes,
That's-
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron.
And I don't know if the rest, I think Mr. Van Buster has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ken. Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. I agree with Commissioner Jackson. I think I also suggested back when you had the budget hearing that if you were going to take less than the full stipend, that you need to do that by resolution. I understand you're having a meeting next Wednesday regarding the budget. If you take any action on amending that budget, I think that's a public hearing. So I hope that folks will be able to chime in and talk about that. I saw that you posted the minutes of the budget hearing back in December, and I hope that you take some of my comments into consideration when you do that budget. And the last thing I wanted to mention was regarding policies for the water system. I think there was some discussion at that budget hearing about creating a policy where the ratepayers would be involved with setting biannual or annual meetings for that group. So I hope you can take that all into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if I may, I have the email here from Kat that says, please keep us in the loop on the extension. The parties need to sign the extension by 1/12/2024, which is the end of the current inspection period, which,
By one today.
by Friday.
By Friday.
Yeah, by Friday. So need some clarity there, because that doesn't seem like they're talking about the amendment to the
No,
purchase and
okay.
sale agreement. But that's what she's referring to when she says, I need this signed now.
That's why I pushed it at Bob. I said, it's not, a little out of balance, but.
Boy, I'm getting a little
Travis, I was just going through my emails. Can you forward that to me, please?
Or-
I will forward that to you.
Thank you very much.
Is that on status updates? Is it that one? Which
Yeah, it's
one
on
is it?
status updates, but you gotta keep clicking all the three dots to bring up all the emails.
Okay.
Every three dots is another thread.
Well, but
In
with
fact, here's,
what Jeff just said, wouldn't that trump that? Because he agreed that we have a little more time regardless of what, because they're basing on what they're basing everything on what they're doing and what we agree on, right?
I think there's two things we're trying to figure out. One is what the hell they're talking about. Exactly.
so I've got a thread here to you, Ted, on 1/9/2024 at 3:15.
Jeff, thank you. I'm just laughing.
I'll just resend it here.
All right, thank you. Jeff, that was pretty good.
But verbally, I'm saying, whatever, regardless whether it's inspection amendment, I'll agree to, go to the next Friday.
That covers it, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will send her an email
All right.
just on that.
Because everything's predicated on what we all agree on,
Yeah.
not on what they want to do.
Right.
Okay. That's fine. And I see the confusion there.
So, they did wrap it all into one thing.
Into one email?
Well, this amendment, amendment number 1 for the purchase
Yeah.
and sale is extension to the financing, inspection, and closing periods. So they rolled it all into one.
So they referred to it to all those positions,
Mhm.
even
You were
though
right.
the inspection is done.
Even though the contract that isn't written
Cor-
that way.
Right, that's correct, so.
Not that we're trying to
But it's
do
an
anything with the
amendment,
board or
yeah.
anything, but I'm saying, if this is the final agreement,
Yeah.
then we all gotta, sit,
Okay.
come by off.
It works for them.
Well, I know that they're trying to protect us too,
Yeah, that's true.
And we have due diligence as well.
No, but I don't want this on my face any more than yours,
Yeah,
going bad,
Okay.
okay.
regardless of where Debbie wants to live.
Okay.
My other question was, Patty, she texted me on Friday and asked how much sick time she had. And I looked in Springbrook and there wasn't anything loaded in there. So I looked at the Washington State, I think there's a requirement that, I think it's for every 40 hours you work, you accrue 1 hour, and that's by law. So I think based on her hours that she had worked through December 31st, she had like 3 hours of sick leave. She was gone for 16, is that right, Travis? She was gone for,
Yeah, she did not work
16 total.
Wednesday and Thursday of last week.
okay. So I wasn't sure how she shouldn't get paid for those 2 days, or if because she for a week was a full-time employee, if she should earn her 8 hours for January, or just pay her out the full 16 hours.
Right. It's sick
That
leave.
was
I mean, she obviously was sick.
Yeah,
She was willing to step in and step out. I kind of felt like,
yeah.
okay. I just wanted your blessing on that.
You're
Okay.
talking about the same thing? You're talking about,
I think she was worried that because she wasn't physically here, that she wouldn't get paid for those hours, so she
Okay.
wasn't sure how she was accruing
okay.
She got,
sick leave.
she got the 3, you're talking about the 3 hours, yes.
So she
would
had
get-
earned 3
Yeah.
hours, and so should she, so for the 16th, Wednesday and Thursday, should
Yeah.
she only get paid for 3 hours that she
No.
had accrued, or just pay her the
So
full
just
16?
just pay, I mean, there's a place to be penny wise and dollar foolish.
That's how I
Yeah.
felt,
Okay,
and
all right.
the fact that she was
Yeah.
willing to be here. Okay.
Okay, anything else? Nothing for the good of the order? Do I hear anybody for the good of the order?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a
I'll
second?
second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Wonderful day.